There you go. That was weird. Hey, what working now? So, I can't complain. What is up? Hello? Hello? We're actually streaming today. Not just a test. I mean, it's a test, I suppose. Yeah, things go. I think that the up my voice very. I'll just deal with it later. I do this. How can I? Well, we're actually taking care of keyboards today. Called work. Suppose it's called work. Could call it fun. Call it. This isn't good. The camera cannot be focused on the mic. That ain't gonna work. Test. We're good. So we have a client board to take care of first. All right, so we got a client first. Some keyboards and spacebar stabilizer. I don't know. Sometimes it's just once like the grease settles in, how the develop, but that's the most common issue that I run across. And we're going to take care of that, and that's just easy thing to out of the way. What to do with this mic? I want to place it across here, but I have it set up so that it doesn't pick up my voice unless I'm speaking at a certain volume, and I really don't know which filter it is that I need to change. See. Testing, test. All right. I think that was it. I think we're good now. In fact, you know what? This hat just kind of makes things dark until I can get some proper lighting in the room. Right now, we're just got ambient. But no excuse to not stream just because I'm too lazy to bring up the. Which is for people who I don't quite align with. And I don't mean that in like political way. I mean like they want me dead and I want to stay alive. So those two conflicting things prevent me from going on Twitch. Work. Don't wanna dox my client. That'd be stupid. Hey, how's it going? You sir. Welcome. How's it going? I try to pronounce your name, but I would not do a good job at it. Oh, I'm doing good. Greetings from India. Do you guys have a keyboard scene in India? I have to be honest, I don't think many of my customers are. I mean, let's see, let me think. I may have shipped to India once or twice, but that's a rare thing. There are just some countries that I don't know if they're not just if the internet works in a certain way where there's like a clear divide. The most notable thing was when something happened in Malaysia. I don't know what happened because there was a small niche of community, small, like literally like 10 people, just 10 people, but they all up and vanish. So I think what happens is like the internet gets regulated in a way that prevents me from being seen in certain countries, which is sad. I mean, obviously I don't expect China to be, able to see my streams or whatever. But it's also just insular communities. Like for example, Japan. I have no customers from Japan, and all of my work is on Japanese keyboards. So, but I have no customers from Japan. A few from Korea, just like a few handful, but that's relatively new. Korea has a thriving toper scene all of its own, and it's rather hard to get products in and out from. They have like their, if you when I was doing research on these boards, which is the Toper brand, a lot of the guides I would come across were in Korean, and they were doing some crazy stuff. I mean, I couldn't read, I could run it through a translator, but yeah, they have their own like however many number of people. I don't really know. But for if you want a taste of how large and how much larger the Toper community is in Korea, look up the Realforce RC1 videos on YouTube, and the ones that are in Korean have 4, 5 times, 6 times as many views on the same videos, and that would include like all of the English speaking countries and Europe. So Europe should be seeing that. So just Korea has 5 times more in the Toper community than all of Europe, North America, Singapore, Australia. Am I missing one? I don't want to miss anyone out. I mean, there are some collectors from there are some people from like the Middle East, but that's kind of rare. They're more like into the artisans, which is a different community. But yeah, that's some keyboard lore for you. It's my first time on stream in like 2 years. Just a little nervousness. It's like my return to keyboard streaming. So here's what we got to take care of. I don't think that I'll be able to ooh, this is gonna be tough to fix. This might be as good as it gets. No, I can definitely fix the anarchy. I have a forever sub. Thank you. Thank you, sir. What should I call you? Is it just the key? I wonder if it's just the key. We'll start with simplicity first, right? Of all the tools I didn't bring up, Aman. Nice to meet you, Aman. People call me Buddy. I am Buddy. Anyway, let's see. Keycap puller. Mm-hmm. 1 minute. Oh, that's interesting. Thank you, YouTube. I hope I keep doing things right so that the the algorithm favors me. Let's see. Well, I really have to take all the keycaps off. Let me try. Let me try. Let's see. Wish I had a tuned board compared to. Yeah, I mean it's a little rattly. We'll go in and fix it. I don't think it's the keycaps, that's for sure. So I'm gonna go through the motions here. So this is a Realforce Sculptor keyboard. What we're going to be doing is taking it apart because we have a couple stabilizers that don't live up to my promise of, like, there's a stabilizer tick that should not be there. I worked on this board, and sometimes this happens. So when it does, I encourage the clients to reach out to me, send me their board, which I, cover as part of my warranty. I do not like the fact that my face. Not that I don't like my face. It's just I don't think it's just what you guys want to be seeing, right? It's gonna be worse. Wrong way. Fingers crossed. Oh yeah, that's way better. So as I was saying, just working on taking this Realforce apart to, I suppose. Yeah. first step, always got to take the keycaps off. So still, I can't escape. I don't know. See, I'm just an amateur who imitates the other people who know what they're doing. I believe that's called faking it till you make it. Sup? Movies entertainment 541. What is up? Welcome. If it's your first time here, I'm Buddy. I work on keyboards, computer keyboards, and I specialize in a certain brand, and that certain brand is becoming a little bit more popular. It's an expensive luxury brand, and the people who buy it tend to buy it because of its high quality. And there are things that you can do to improve it. And a lot of times people have more, a lot of these people have more money than they have time. So that's kind of where I fit in the niche. But I also service the community with a storefront. Hey, Fragger. What's up, Zoomer? Hey, thank you. I have a guest who's trying to make an appearance. Come on, buddy. Okay. This is Jet, everyone. I am from Massachusetts. Hope to see you again, Aman. Nice meeting you. Night. So all I'm doing is getting into this keyboard to fix a couple issues that arose after the client received their board. And I offer 100%. The issues that have arisen, I definitely would cover under my warranty. It's a thing that happens every once in a while. It's fine when I give it to them, but you know, it's not uncommon to have something pop up after about a week of use, like a break in time, call it that. So I encourage them to reach out if there's any sort of like issues that arise, and in this case it did. So we're just going to take care of a few minor sound imperfections that should make it up to what I strive to provide, you know, as best as I know how to make it. And as far as I'm concerned, I know how to make it better than anyone else. Oh yeah, my clients watch my. So I used to stream. This is my first stream in about 2 years, and I mean, you know, the odd stream here and there, but yeah, I'm back to streaming, but this time on YouTube and not on Twitch. Twitch is just a cesspool. Plus, I mean, it's like, you know, the reasons I'm streaming are for different reasons than most people are streaming, right? It helps me with my schedule. It helps me engage with my clients and customers. Helps me engage with people who are curious about the this type of keyboard, which is becoming more and more popular. So really it's just to add to the overall quality of customer care and level of quality that I run my business at. It's also achieving multiple things at once. If you think about it, right? It allows me to work while I'm answering questions. I don't have to type. A lot of this stuff gets documented. I can then use it as, I don't have to then make separate videos about different topics. I wasn't sure about the direction I wanted to go. So for a while I was exclusively building up a catalog of typing tests so that people could have a realistic expectation about what these keyboards sound like. Hey buddy, I'll go here, window open. And that's because you're the keyboard Jesus? Oh, thanks. They call me buddy, but I'll take Jesus. Oh, no spacebar. Jesus turned water into wine, so let me grab some water. That's how you can drink on stream. You're Jesus. Amen. perfectly smooth curve. Now think about points on that, points of data around that curve. It's going to be more. The more the deviation is, the more the scratchier it is. I don't know what the mathematical term is. But you can basically measure like the deviation between each measurement, and the higher it is, the higher the scratchiness. It's the XLR input. Every time I knock it, it goes haywire. Watch. See? And if I kick the XLR input on the ground, it like goes wire. That's probably what happened. I have 2 of them, and the other one's screwed because the USB port on it doesn't work. But sometimes you just got to roll with what you got, right? Okay. This keyboard is simply a sandwich of parts. This sandwich of parts is held together with a metal plate. This metal plate is then sandwiched in between, so it's like a Big Mac. No, yeah, Big Mac, a sandwich within a sandwich, right? Or what are they? No, the real sandwich within a sandwich is when you take the McDouble and the McFillet and the McFish. You do the land and turf. That's a sandwich within a sandwich. This is the McTurf version of that. So you're sandwiching a sandwich, right? So the only thing that holds this plate in place is it's resting. It's resting like, how do I mean? How do I get this in place? It's resting up against the bottom of this plastic, and then this top part just, puts pressure in place. So it's simple yet effective. But that don't mean it's a cheap keyboard. I mean, this is the cheapest version of the keyboard, which is, it's still 180 bucks. Yeah, I did like 6 years ago. I mean, this is my business, and I do sell keyboards, and I do have my own designs. That doesn't make me extremely successful. This is my bread and butter. People sending me boards to build. I sell them at unrealkeyboards.com. I've tried eBay. I get better traction, higher margins, and higher sales on my storefront. It needs a redesign, but The it's a long story. These screws here are what hold the PCB to the plate, and that that holds the rest of the components, except for the housings, which are snapped into the metal plate. So unlike mechanical keyboards where it's individual switches, think of this as a gigantic switch that, like, in terms of its parts, all of its parts are spread out through the whole board. So when you take it apart, it's like you're taking apart one mechanical switch. So things aren't hot swappable, but you can change the rubber domes that provide the tactility. There are some good options from some resellers of like they call it EC. This is a Topra but board. It's an electrocapacitive keyboard. It's colloquially known as EC. People are just now calling it EC. I think that's not extremely descriptive. And people are not calling Topra anymore. They're just calling it OEM, which means original equipment manufacturer. Just call it Topra. Topra's a brand name. And what's happening is people are coming in and making clone parts of their switches and incorporating that into aftermarket like kits. So if you're familiar with expensive keyboard kits where you buy the shell, the plate, the PCB, and the switches and assemble it yourself, they're now doing that with these keyboards, where in the past you had to buy them pre-built as is from the manufacturer. But now that there's a guy who does aftermarket EC PCBs, he's been working with oh goodness, Canon keys, I think. He's been working with Canon keys on selling PCBs for like all the new kits that are coming out. So when you buy a new keyboard kit that are, you know, traditionally group buys, so you have to wait and stuff, expect to see the option of having an EC version, which is what I'm building here. And when they say EC, what they really mean is a Topra switch, but they can't because that's a trademark. So they're just Topra clones. But you know, we still have a long way to go before we get quality aftermarket parts. Right now, I still take apart Topra boards just for their parts so that I can build clients other boards, because you can't get better parts than the ones that come from these boards. Even though companies have tried, I don't know what's holding them back. I know every single time that they release a part, it seems like they're trying to reinvent the wheel somehow by making minor tweaks here, minor tweaks there, and you know, and then it's like, yeah, okay, the basic difference between $100 keyboard and a $1,000 keyboard. Well, $1,000 keyboard would be a very rare thing, a very bespoke thing, or a case made of stainless steel or brass. So it's more like, what's a $100 keyboard versus a $500 keyboard? And talking about that, well, there's difference. With a $500 keyboard, you are it's like you are customizing your keyboard. There's a lot more options from a lot more designers. You're going to get a higher quality product, a nicer aesthetic looking product. It's going to be made of metal. You're going to have to make it yourself, but you get all these choices to play around with, like plate material, plate thickness. Sometimes these guys go crazy and they do like flex cuts in these plates, which I don't really know what. That's not my world. Then you can get into the switches that you want to use, whether you want to lube them ahead of time, which is again not my world, but from what I understand, you take these mechanical switches apart, which have two like prongs or three prongs, and they plug into a PCB. These days they're hot swappable, but they used to have to solder them in place. Maybe that's still the case. I think most of them are hot swappable. But you get to build up your keyboard, but then you also build it. With a $100 option, you're now looking for a high quality pre-built keyboard that has minimal issues and has features that you're looking for, whether you're a gamer or a typer, or you're looking for something that you can take on the go, something that has Bluetooth. That's the difference. If you enjoy the hobby of keyboards, that's who these $500 keyboards are for. And for people who enjoy the $500 keyboards but don't enjoy the process of building them, that's my job. And like people like Teja Types, who's retired, people like Alex Otos, who builds keyboards all the time. You know, people commission him to build their board that they spend money on. So it's a very high-end thing, and to be honest, most of my products are more expensive than things that I could personally own. I mean, my board, I'll show you my board this is a Realforce, so it's the same brand, but this thing is stock. I mean, aside from the color keycaps, this thing I have not modified. I just bought it, and I've been using it for a year straight, and I effing love the damn thing. You know, I brush it clean every once in a while. It kind of needs a cleaning. But it's got Bluetooth. You can switch between 4 built-in profiles. You can change the actuation points. It's not completely analog. Like the actuation points are preset and then registered on the keyboard before being sent out. So it's not like a wooting, but you can set the these. So it does make a difference, you know, if you feel like gaming on it. It's got 4 USB profiles. 4 Bluetooth profiles, a USB, and you can have this plugged in and switch between devices on the go. So I could have my laptop up and plugged into my keyboard and just switch between the two without having like a computer switch. But this is just stock, and I think this is as good as enough for me. You know, it's funny that I have expensive keyboards in my house, but they're for sale. You know, they're not. You know, I run a business. You can't get high on your own supply. That's interesting. Anyway, this is what the keyboard looks like, or half of it at least. these are rubber domes. And they got springs underneath them that are what used to are. So this spring allows electrons to pass between two pads that are on this landing pad here. So electrons are being passed from one end to another, and it's being measured. So there's a floor and there's a ceiling, meaning like this is the ceiling, this is the floor. Then from that, you can equate the registered capacitance as travel, as a linear curve, or if it's not linear, I'm sure they figured out exactly what curve it is, because what's happening is as you compress this spring, it's tough to see. Let me try to show you. Like, all right, I'll push it down. Like, do you see how it's right? So you understand it's conical. Now, as I press it down, I'm going to push it down all the way. Look at how many of all of those coils that were above the pad are now contacting it. So more electrons are passing in between. And as it raises up, less and less of those coils are contacting the pad. Thus, floor, ceiling, analog, keyboard, that's how it works. This rubber dome, it provides the tactile key feel. And you may be saying, well, rubber dome, that's a joke. Well, not really. There's nothing more satisfying than the Topper keyboard, except maybe Alps switches are rather uniquely tactile, and especially if you're into clicky. I mean, this is it may look crude, but this is the peak of switch technology. This stuff was invented. All these switches were invented in the patented in the 90s, and I mean in the 80s. Alp switches, MX switches, Topra switches, all of the switches that people are still using to this day and creating variations of. I don't know why I'm taking this apart the way I am. Habit, I suppose. Are just iterations on 40-year-old technology. Except for Ryan Norbauer's. But we're not going to talk about him. Okay. This being the other half here. It's a plate that It's a plate that holds in these black housings, and the black housings are what hold the sliders. The sliders are what sit on top of these rubber domes that go up and down, and then this is what holds the keycap. And when the keycap is actuated and you press the slider goes all the way down, the keycap, it's unique in the fact that the keycap does not contact the plate, so you don't get a bottoming out clack sound like you do in an MX board. Instead, what you get is a thock that happens on the upstroke because the rubber dome snaps back in a way that MX keyboards just don't. It's like a woundly taut drum, and you hit it and it just, it's like bounces, it just snaps. It snaps back. Some of these more aggressive ones snap back with a vengeance. I think that's where the auditory sound comes in from, but I also think that that's what plays a major role in the overall tactility of the board, which, yeah, it has a tactile bump on the way down, but it also snaps back. It's just I mean, It's like trying to explain sex to someone who's never had sex before. How was it, man? Dude, you tell me. He's like, dude, you, holy shit, man. What it feel like, dude? Tell me. I don't know. You're just gonna have to get laid. Buy a Topra. Just do it. I do. Well, I do. I just do in low volume. I am one person. There are company. I mean, there are people. You know, there are companies who do what I do, but they're teams of 5, 6, 7, 8 people. And they just sort of run the show around here. It doesn't mean they do a better job. Quite the opposite, I'd say. But I'm just a low volume guy. Right. Scheiße. Oh yeah, I can see why this is ticking. So it was these 3 stabilizer keys. In Topra keyboards, the stabilizers are one gigantic slider with a bar. It's very unique. So even the largest stabilizer key, aside from the space bar, doesn't have anything on the sides. Just snaps into this larger slider, and this larger slider has a bar. I didn't engineer the thing. I don't think it's that great of a design. It's a little bit confusing. To be honest, I don't even know if it's any better than just having one regular housing. But here we are. I do. I have been playing Counter-Strike, and I have been playing Rocket League lately. How about you? Oh, and I started a new XCOM campaign, but then I realized I set the difficulty wrong, so I got to start over. I'm like, why is this so easy halfway into the campaign? Bars. I'm the whitest guy with bars you've ever seen. Right in here. Hmm. I invest in myself by doing cool things with my business. For example, I've got 2 color case hardened Realforces that I'm working on. True color case hardened. I'm having the heat sinks made for them right now. A couple of years ago, it was Irushi, which is a Japanese lacquer painting technique that had tangential relevancy to the keyboard world. I was also able to design two keyboard kits. They did not turn a profit, unfortunately, but you got to try these things, man. You know, not like you can't expect to succeed at all things, and I don't let it get me, discouraged. I think one day I'm going to hit gold with. I mean, I do well for myself. I've got a clientele base that really have. I mean, my goal is to make my clients extremely happy. In doing so, I get returned what I don't want to call them whales, but the only people who come to me are people with more money than time. So it's nice that I'm able to build keyboards and make a living out of it. The only reason I'm able to do it is because of the time and effort that I put into to get here. I would say I'd say I kind of plateaued at around 150 keyboards built. It took 150 keyboards built. 150 different keyboards. Where am I going to get those? I mean, I guess you take apart and rebuild the whole same keyboard 150 times, but people don't know that. You know, they don't know what they don't know. And I've heard it. I don't pay attention to the noise, but people just everyone's an expert in this scene. So you'll get misconflicting information all the time. Yeah, it's hard enough to navigate as it is. There are people who have no right to even, I mean, they have no right being in this space making products just because they build keyboards and have built keyboards for other, communities. This is not mechanical keyboards. This is a completely different world. And they think, I mean, it's a cash grab. They don't know. This latest guy who's putting out stuff doesn't even understand the basics of how the product works. And it's just so frustrating because what it means is that it creates a more complicated, harder to enter realm of keyboards where it's like gate kept just behind the Kafka-esseness of it, meaning the absolute confusion, right? So, you go to the front desk, they tell you to go see service tells you to go see support tells you to go see the front desk says, well, go back to support says go see the front desk. Kafka-esque. Makes no sense. There's no way to navigate it. It's complete, and it's not exactly the most welcoming community. You ask questions, you'll get answers, but like I said, everyone's an expert. So it frustrates me that the space is filled with junk products, with people flooding it with aftermarket crap when all I want is parts that are as good as the original manufacturer made. I don't know why that's so difficult. In fact, it's been done before, which is why it upsets me so much. It's a cash grab, and I feel like the gatekeeper of this information, right? I want people to get excited and I want, it's not it's a tough maze to wrap your head around, and unless you got a guide, and I mean like someone to ask questions and answers to. I don't mean like necessarily like a 101 paper. You would need a dissertation paper to kind of get to the point of knowledge where you understand what products are what and why they are the way they are and what the goal of this product is versus that product and what the alternatives are and the downsides of buying this versus that, and are these products actually helpful. And there's a list of there's just a list of products that actually don't even work, that are sold by a company that sells products that are actually really good, some of them, but that some of them are either non-functional or worse, will if installed will make your board non-functional, and meaning like the purpose of the product doesn't work. But then they also on the other end have one that is so thick that it breaks the board. I you're all my children, children of the corn. Harvest will be good. Gen Z's cooked, and that's where they're headed. Oh no, I don't got kids. Do I look like a guy with kids? This one needs to get fixed too, even though it doesn't sound bad. I have a Miata. It don't go very fast, but it's fun. What about you, Fragger? What do you like? Well, I am 37 years old, so I've been working for a very long time. I started this business in 2000 and it started turning a profit in 2021. I guess you could say I turned a profit, just barely broke even that year. But I was doing all sorts of stuff to try to break in. I was doing like I was modifying keyboards in a way that kind of set me apart. And it wasn't until I developed a modification for the boards I was selling that really is what got people interested. And now that product is kind of a ubiquitous modification that everyone sells. And am I gonna get mad over people taking it my idea? No. I would get mad over all of the ideas that I shared that got made stream that would be silly. I mean, I sort of like entered the space to break down all the gatekeeping bullshit and all the people who you know what it's like. At the time, no. I mean, now, yeah, but it's okay. What am I gonna do? Sue China over, you know? No, it's not worth it. I'm not. I don't. It's not like I do millions in revenue. I do hundreds of thousands in revenue. So it's a little bit different. Not like I got the money, nor the time, nor the will, or the patience. And honestly, I mean, whatever. I guess whatever. I mean, there's ways to make money, and the people who are making money in this community are not really aligned with the goals and aspirations that I have. So I don't get along with anybody in this community because I think they're all losers. I think they're all just losers who think that they know better than everyone, and they just go in and they make a cash grab while they gatekeep information. And I mean, they have, it's just a bunch of shitheads out there. And worse is that they're not exactly Elon Musk. They're more like, I don't know, that idiot at high school that never had any friends who didn't even pass. But now but he went to like a fraternity, right? So he dresses nice and he's puts on a facade and is super nice to everyone to the point of absolutely like nauseating me. I can just see right through it. And they will keep up this facade so that they can always be the victim. And they have a victim complex. They have a superior than thou complex. You can't ask them any serious questions. They'll take it as an affront. I'm the bad guy, and I don't give a fuck because these people are just mentally retarded, socially inept retards. I don't know why the community is like that. It's run by perpetually online furries with just a degenerate sense of morality. I could not give a fuck less about what they think. And then the people selling them shit sell them shit and they just gobble it up. So if they like eating shit, who am I to tell them? I have my own, business and community. I don't know why I am part of their discussions and their lore, but I am. I don't want to get into it, but it's just like I'm banned from all of their places And I guess that was in an effort to stop me from being a successful person in the scene. And I didn't do anything. I was ignorant enough to think that, well, I was just ignorant. No, dude, I mean, I do, but not really. You ask a lot of questions, man. You like you're like trying to farm information on me. The next thing out of your mouth is, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry for giving you a hard time, man. I just get all worked up thinking about these chuds. Just degenerate pieces of shit. That's what they are. So that's why I get a little worked up. I didn't mean to take it out on you, my friend. Yeah, I'm a perpetually like agitated asshole who will call out shit product to the designer's face, and people really don't like that. If I was wrong, it'd be different. And I don't mean like I'm wrong, I'm right, they're wrong kind of thing. It's more like over time, people start saying the things that I was saying that got me in trouble in the first place. So this group thing. But now we're getting off of this is just like deep lore. This is just the life I have to live. Where if I want to stay, doing keyboards, I have to kind of live with the fact that there's this just gigantic group of people who I've never met or ever talked to, who have this opinion of me that, I mean, they hate this person who I don't even know. Does that make sense? I've been gone longer than they've been creating the straw man of me. So I don't even know the details of this person who they hate. But that is a situation that takes like a year of being in the community to even understand it. And you'd have to witness some of the things that go down. Sick, dude. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to like make this a I'm sorry. I'm I should have I should just be cool. You know? I'm not here to vent. You guys aren't my therapists. And honestly, these are people who I'd rather not think about. Just happens to be my tied to who I am. So the introduction kind of includes that. People like to think I'm the one who's obsessed and won't get over it, where I mean, I have people who live to oppose me. Their singular goal in life is just to, if I say something, they have to go out of their way to try to prove that I'm wrong. And I don't have kind of that sort of like effort. So if they want to go ahead and in a space where I'm not allowed, talk about me and create videos and discussions about me and try to disprove why I'm wrong, and that's out of my control. what is within my control response to that, which could be eviscerating. You know, I mean, I see some of these people trying to prove me wrong, and pounds. So maybe I should make like a preamble, you know, like a, you know, like a rehearsed speech that just dismisses that right out of the gate. Because that, as the first time back streaming after 2 years or so, well, a lot's happened. And I got to get back into that kind of filtered sense of well, I have to be professional. You know, like I'm not a political commentator. I can't really speak my mind. Why do I say that? Well, it's not like that I want to speak my mind. It's just that I can't, even if I wanted to. The the people in the keyboard community are very you, you ever heard of a purity test? You have to conform 100% to them. They care more about politics than they care about keyboards. So in order to not stir up any more drama, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. All right, I think that should do it. Let's touch up the spacebar while I'm here. Man, I need to get some. I need to. I don't like this grease at all. It is way too thick. All right, now that should be it. Thanks, man. Nice meeting you. Hmm. Ooh, yeah, let's not do that. So what I'm doing now is I'm ensuring that the domes are aligned with the notches that are cut out for them, and then the springs need to be lying flush, flat, and that will center them uh, enough that it gets the switch to work. You don't have to worry about, you know, if you want to sweat like how dead center it is, that's not a good it's not going to produce anything. It's just going to end up with you just getting frustrated because the spring itself doesn't really like to sit dead center. There's a it doesn't end with like a concentric circle, right? It's a spring, so the spring ends where the spring ends, and they don't wrap a wire around it to make a concentric circle. If I did, I think that then you could get it to sit the way you want to, but the way that it has more coil on one end than it does on the other. So there's really no way for it to sit perfectly dead center. So that's something that you should know if you're going to obsess over the alignment before you install your PCB, which you should. But just know that all you really need to do is ensure that the domes are in their proper locations and that the springs are sitting flat. Come on here. Here's one. I have to go all the way downstairs just to get one spring. Yeah, it appears that way. I'll be right back. That's funny. Makes like funny lines on my shirt. All right, one last final check. Mm-hmm. All right, looks good to me. There's no real good way to align this. Oh, I hope that didn't disrupt any of the domes. When screwing the PCB back on, start with the silver screws. Uh, Whoa. Uh-oh. This thing not lined at all? Uh-oh. Well, it doesn't look like any of the domes shifted, so find out though. That ain't the right. Hmm. Oh, I'll find it later. Time to test the board. Okay, let's try the other cable. That ain't good. Back again. Fragger's back. Tell a friend. Hmm. Whoa. Fixed. That one. Fixed. Fixed. All set. All done. Cool. Hey, John. Hmm. Well, there's only one last thing to do. Well, I'm sure I'll find it. My warranty seal stickers. So that's all I gotta add, but do not know where it is. So I'm gonna end the stream here. Hopefully everything went well. I'll watch the VOD back and make any changes. Try to improve from here. I'll get a schedule going, so you can expect probably Wednesday streams and at least one a week. But this was the first one. I think the other ones are going to be a little bit earlier in the day. So we'll see how things pan out from here. But thanks for everyone who watched. I hope that this was informative and entertaining. If you have any questions, you can reach me at Discord. See at the bottom of the stream here where it says @BuddyOG. You can add me there. And that's probably the best way to get a hold of me. If you have any questions about Topra or how to, modify your own, I'm always happy to guide people along when they want to take their keyboard and modify it. I'm an open book, so feel free to reach out at any time. Cheers.